You are not prepared!
Welcome to another Top 5 Crystal 5, guys. The nerfs came out less than 2 days ago, but we already have some pretty good meta stats with which we can see what the big winners of these nerfs and buffs are. In this Top 5, I will do my best to give you guys the new best decks that came out, but I will also tell you what are all of the other best performing decks for each class as well, so stick around to the end. If you enjoy what I'm doing and you're serious about Hearthstone, you might as well click that like and subscribe button, because I will keep on giving you quality Top 5 meta reports each week, so you know what you're gonna be playing with, as well as what you can be facing against you. Now, let's jump into the video. The first deck on the list is gonna be Thief Rogue, which got some pretty good buffs, including Wildpaw Gnoll, as well as Tooth of Nefarian. Wildpaw Gnoll feels very nice right now, and you usually get to cheat him out as soon as turn 2 or 3. We're also abusing the Double Agent again, Asharon Vessel is amazing, and also Tooth of Nefarian is actually decent now, because a lot of the times you get some good targets to clear with the free damage, and also being able to discover a spell from another class can be extremely versatile, and you can get some pretty good plays with that. We're also getting random cards from Swashbuckler and Reconnaissance, and that's basically it. I'm pretty sure people are gonna ask, can I cut Maestra out of this deck? And you pretty much can't if you really want to be abusing the Gnoll power. Because that's kind of the whole point about it. Because while you're disguised as a different class, just by top decking cards, your Gnoll gets discounted. As long as you don't top deck your only neutral card, which is Mr. Smite. Other than that, the deck looks pretty close to what it used to be back in the day when Gnoll was unnerfed. We also have Scabs back in the deck. Couple of Gone Fishing so you can dredge out your Asheron Vessel fast, and you have a bunch of tradable cards with Extortion and Cutlass, and some Pirates. The deck can pack a really serious punch, especially if you go with Mr. Smite, prep into Asheron Vessel, and even Gone Fishing. And that would be a 10 mana combo, which is basically 18 charge damage, and that's insane. You can even do more if you're already in Shadowcrafter Scabs form, because you can fit in a couple of Fillet Fighters, and even Shadow Steps, and that becomes literally an 8-card combo. But what I'm trying to say is you can even LTK people with this thing, but you gotta be pretty lucky, and your opponent kinda needs to not do anything. You can still do the big Edwin combo as well with Mr. Smite, and you have some Wicked Stab reach damage as well. So damage shouldn't be an issue, and you also have pretty good early game tempo with your agents and your gnolls too, and the Asheron Vessels are pretty good as well. Matchup wise, here's what the stats look like so far, and Control Warrior is gonna be a problem for you, and Hand Buff, and Mech Paladin, and Mech Mage are too close to 50% as well, but everything else looks pretty decent. Mulligan wise, going first and second, you're always gonna want your Wildpaw Gnoll, Double Agent makes a lot of sense, Asheron Vessel, especially with a prep, would be insane. Your Cutlass is pretty good, so you can start tradabling for your Wildpaw Gnolls as well as Extortion, and Reconnaissance is not a bad tempo card as well. But be careful how you use it, so you don't come out of your disguise sooner than you would like. When on the coin, it's kinda the same, but even Scab starts making sense because you can coin it out on turn 7. For other good rogue decks right now, we have variations of Thief Rogue, including a lot more scammy Tez Greymane variants, which do make a lot of sense honestly, but it feels like this version is just straightforward, whereas this one is a little bit too memey, and it can high roll a lot, but it also can low roll a lot. But it's still actually tier 2-ish, so yeah, you can still climb ranks with this version. Pirate Rogue is still in the dumpster basically. The next deck on the list is gonna be Beast Hunter, which got a lot of buffs to it, and it seems like it really did help, because this variant has 60% win rate from Diamond to Legend. This version is a Vandar list, which can again be pretty high rolly, but even if you don't get him, the deck feels still pretty good. You're running the secret package, because since you're running Vandar, you can't be running early game minions. You have Revive Pet, so you can get all of your good beasts back alive, including King Crush, and Bear, and your Colossal. You have the new buffed Pet Collector, but sadly you don't have room for the new buffed Sunken card Saber, so there's that as well. Barak Kotobane is in here, so you can draw your Tracking, your Secrets, and also your Revive Pet. And you also have the hero card Tavish, so you can get some good animal companions later on. Matchup wise here, we don't have too much stats just yet, but I guess this is gonna get loaded up the more people start playing it. Murloc Warlock and Naga Mage and Mech Paladin would be your worst so far, but as you can see you have a lot of good matchups as well, including Thief Rogue. Mulligan wise, going first and second, obviously you're always gonna want Vandar. The Harpoon Gun makes a lot of sense. Tracking perhaps so you can find your Vandar again. Dunboldar Bridge as well. And even Beastalker Tavish can make some sense, and depending on the matchup, you might want to be keeping Explosive Trap or Ice Trap. On the coin, even the Colossal apparently seems like a keep, even though I'm not really sure that would be great. But still, Vandar, Dunboldar Bridge and the Harpoon Gun would be your best bets. Beastalker Tavish and Barracuda Bane might also be not a bad keep. Other good Hunter decks right now would still include Quest Hunter barely above 50% after the nerf, and a bunch of variations of the Beast Hunter. Here's the other list without Vandar, but with the Saber instead, and you can see that the win rate is significantly lower, so there's that. On the number 3 spot, we have Curse Warlock, which also received a ton of buffs, and is doing a lot better now. Curse Warlock is very control-y, and basically it's running the same control package the Death Rattle, Owl, and also Mind Warlock were running. You're running the buffed Dragged Below, obviously, which came down to 3 mana only. Syracuse Cultist also got modified, being a 3/4 free drop instead of a 2-drop 2/3, which is kind of a, not really a buff, kind of a rebalance, but apparently it sticks on the board better now. And the rest is basically pretty much unchanged, but the deck started working a lot better now. Matchup-wise, Quest Warrior is gonna completely destroy you apparently, but everything else is 50% and above, so you should be fine. Mulligan-wise, it depends on the matchup, but when you're going first, this is what the stats show so far, and when going second, this is what it looks like. I'm not gonna go deep into detail here, cause I've honestly not touched this deck, so what do I know? Next on the list is another Warlock, but this time it's Murloc Warlock, which also received a lot of good buffs. The deck entirely consists of nothing but Murlocs, including 2 Amalgams, Chum Bucket, and Rock Bottom. I tried a similar version like this, and it felt like it was missing something, but maybe this version is gonna work better, and it definitely has better stats than the ones I was having. Gorlock Ravager is insanely good in this one, because you really want to have a lot of Murloc card draw, so you can really utilize the buffs from Chum Bucket, from Void Gill, as well as from the Sunken Murloc as well. The absolute high roll would be if you go into a Bloodscent Vilefin, and you actually dredge up a Gorlock Ravager. And that's gonna be an insane tempo for you, especially if you follow up with a Chum Bucket, buffing up your entire hand. The deck felt pretty high rolly, but you gotta be careful because your health goes down really fast here, and if you lose the board, it's kinda hard to get back on it. But yeah, it's definitely pretty fun and a pretty fresh way to be playing Warlock. Matchup wise, here's what it looks like, and we're seeing plenty of red, but also plenty of green. And also Control Warrior felt extremely good for you, as long as you're greedy with your Chum Buckets. Mulligan-wise, going first, here's what we have. Rock Bottom would be really good for you, as well as the Acheron Scavenger, your Murloc Tidecaller, the Vilefin, and also Chum Bucket if you manage to pull it off. We're also having Sir Finley in this one, which feels kind of odd honestly, because you kind of don't want to be removing your buffed hand, but maybe there's a benefit I can't see right now. And on the coin, it's pretty similar, basically the same. For other good Warlock decks, it's basically just Curse Warlock and Murloc Warlock right now. And at the bottom you can see Agony Warlock agonizing with less than 42% win rate. And on the last spot, it's not really a new deck, but it's a deck people forgot and are coming back to it because it's still pretty good. Quest Warrior. Quest Warrior right now has 60% win rate, give or take, and it's pretty easy for you to climb to Legend with this one. The deck is just too consistent because you keep on just playing your good pirates, and eventually you get Rakara, which simply overwhelms the opponent, or Nelly, which usually gives you a Mistress Smite for 1 mana. I really don't need to talk much about Pirate Warrior, do I? Matchup wise, here's what it looks like, and you're gonna be demolishing Control Warriors, which is pretty fun. But Beast Hunter is actually not gonna be too great for you, as well as Hand Buff Paladin. Amulet Mage and Mech Mage are not great as well, and Murloc Warlock might be too fast for you as well. Mulligan wise, when going first, you want to be curving out, and your best 2-drop to curve into would be Harbor's Camp, as well as Obsidian Smith. Bloodsail Deckhand also makes sense. And if you already are curving out nicely, you might even consider keeping Defias Cannoneer. When going second, here's what it looks like again, and Nelly becomes a lot more keepable, but make sure you're curving into her, so you actually have good early game. Defias Cannoneer also becomes a lot more keepable. Amalgam of the Deep is kinda tricky, cause you really wanna be ensuring that you have something to copy with him, but even worst case scenario, it could just be a vanilla 2-drop 2/3 pirate for you. Shivered Timbers can make a lot of sense in certain matchups, but still, you're good Bloodsail Deckhand, Harbor's Camp, and Obsidian Smith will be making a lot of sense still. For other good warrior decks, we also have Control Warrior and Charge Warrior doing great, even in top 1000 Legend, but like I said, Quest Warrior is also doing mighty fine. So those would be your 3 picks for Warrior. That's it for the 5 decks, now let's check out what the other classes are working with. Starting off with the very heavily nerfed Demon Hunter, and as you can see, the situation is just pitiful. People are still trying to play Drekthar in this, and it's just simply not working. And we also have a variant with the buffed Zilog, which still is looking pretty pitiful. For Druid, right now Ramp Druid would be your best bet, but as you can see Beast Druid is doing okay as well, and Celestial Druid too. For Mage, Naga Mage is actually doing insanely good, and I was thinking about featuring it again, but since I went for newer archetypes, it just couldn't fit. Amulet Mage is also doing fine, as well as Mech Mage. Paladin also almost made the cut, but again I went with the new archetypes, and Hand Buff Paladin and Mech Paladin would be taking the cake here. Holy Paladin is also doing great, and there's a Control Paladin above 50% too, but the stats are a lot lower. With Priest, Blessed Priest is actually pretty good right now, but surprisingly the stats are just not too good for it just yet. Shellfish Priest is also above 52, and Quest Priest is also decent. In Top Legend, Boar Priest is still destroying everybody, but you gotta be really skilled with this one. And lastly we have Shaman, which also almost made the cut here, but again Burn Shaman didn't really receive any changes, so there's that. But if you are feeling like playing Shaman, Burn Shaman would be your best bet. So that's gonna be it for this top 5, guys. Hope this helps you figure out what you want to be playing in the new meta. Don't forget you can also hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. Thanks for watching, I'm Chris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.